The grand palace of Xythera glimmered under 3 moons, its spires and terraces stretching skyward like crystalline fingers. It was a city of opulence, inhabited by aliens whose appearance and technology seemed drawn from the dreams of 1,000 civilizations. At the center of it all reigned Queen Velythra, a leader of unrivaled authority, whose children, twin heirs, were celebrated across the stars for their potential to inherit the throne. Yet the twins, Varrick and Liora, were fragile. Born prematurely and with underdeveloped limbs, they could not walk. Despite the palace's state-of-the-art medical facilities, robotic assistants, and specialized tutors, no one had succeeded in helping them move beyond their cribs. They were adored, pampered, and protected, but their inability to walk had become a quiet source of frustration for the royal court, a blemish on perfection in a world obsessed with capability and grace. Meanwhile, in the palace's shadowed corridors, Varrick, a human janitor and former shuttle mechanic, pushed his mop with quiet diligence. He had arrived at Xythera by chance, taking a position that allowed him to earn his keep while observing alien technology and architecture he could barely comprehend. His life had been one of practicality and humility, repairing engines, cleaning decks, and keeping to himself, but even in his lowly position, he possessed patience, observation skills, and a practical understanding of mechanics and human, or alien, anatomy. It was a late afternoon when Ethan first encountered the twins. While emptying the palace nursery, he noticed the small creatures struggling weakly against their restraints. Their eyes, luminous and intelligent, fixed on him, not with recognition, but with curiosity and hope. They tried to push themselves up, flailing against their tiny support devices. Ethan knelt beside the crib, studying their movements. "Hey there," he murmured. "Looks like someone's ready to move." The robotic assistants hovered nearby, programmed to correct the twins' motions. They made soft mechanical noises, but their rigid programming could not adjust to the children's spontaneous attempts. The twins whimpered in frustration. Ethan's eyes narrowed. He could see the problem immediately. The children had strength and desire, but the machines were overcorrecting, limiting their natural effort. He removed the restraining harnesses gently, kneeling closer to the floor. "Let's try this differently," he said softly. "Just you, me, and the floor." With patience and care, he guided Varrick's tiny hands to the ground, encouraging him to push against gravity, rather than letting machines do it for him. He supported Liora as she tried to balance, adjusting her stance subtly, letting her find stability in her own way. Minutes turned into hours, and for the first time, the twins took shaky, unassisted steps, laughter and squeaks of joy filling the nursery. Word spread quickly. The queen, alerted by palace aides, arrived, expecting to see chaos or error. Instead, she witnessed something extraordinary. Her twins walking, wobbling but determined, guided not by machines, tutors, or her royal decree, but by a humble human janitor. Velythra's crystalline eyes widened. "You did this?" she asked, voice a mixture of disbelief and awe. Ethan shrugged modestly. "Just showed them how to trust their own strength. They wanted to walk. I just helped them figure it out." The queen's expression softened, but she was not accustomed to sharing power or admiration with anyone, least of all a human janitor. Yet the result spoke for itself. The twins were laughing, exploring their surroundings, and responding to their environment in ways no one had thought possible. Over the following weeks, Ethan continued working with the twins. He devised exercises to strengthen their legs, balance, and coordination, turning their nursery into a dynamic space where learning and play intertwined. The children thrived, laughing, running, and even attempting to climb low furniture. Palace staff and tutors watched in amazement, taking notes and eventually integrating some of Ethan's methods into their own programs. It was during this time that the first shock rippled through the court. A neighboring systems delegation arrived, expecting to see fragile, dependent royal heirs. Instead, they were greeted by 2 active, walking, curious children exploring the palace corridors with confidence. The ambassadors whispered in astonishment. "The twins, they walk," one exclaimed. Velythra observed quietly, pride and shock mingling in her expression. She had underestimated the value of human intuition, humility, and patience, qualities that machines and tutors lacked. She realized that in her focus on perfection, she had overlooked the fundamental principle of development: trust, encouragement, and support tailored to the individual. Ethan became a subtle hero. Palace officials, initially resistant to the idea of a human janitor influencing the royal children, began consulting him for advice. He shared strategies for encouraging independence, fostering confidence, and letting natural curiosity guide learning. The twins responded beautifully, their growth accelerating. However, not all reactions were positive. Some members of the court, jealous or threatened by Ethan's influence, attempted to discredit him. They argued that the twins' progress was fluke, that humans could not possibly understand alien physiology, and that the palace's reputation was at risk. Velythra, however, had seen the results. "Enough," she declared. "He has accomplished what none of you could. His methods have worked and the children are thriving. That is all that matters." The twins' newfound mobility unlocked other aspects of their development. They began engaging more fully in social interactions, participating in lessons, and even contributing to discussions about palace governance in age-appropriate ways. Their curiosity was boundless and Ethan encouraged it, creating miniature simulations of palace systems, letting the children experiment with problem-solving. One day a crisis arrived. A freighter carrying critical resources for the palace had malfunctioned, its engines failing as it approached the docking bay. The palace's automated systems struggled to stabilize it. Panic spread among staff, who were uncertain how to proceed. Ethan, noticing the situation, gathered the twins. "This is a perfect chance to see what you've learned," he said, guiding them to safe observation points. "Watch carefully and tell me what you see." The twins, now agile and mobile, observed the freighter systems, mimicking Ethan's previous guidance techniques. Using their observation skills, they pointed out critical malfunctions, while Ethan coordinated repairs with the engineering crew. The freighter stabilized safely, avoiding disaster. Palace staff erupted in applause, impressed not only by the twins' awareness, but by their ability to understand complex systems at such a young age. Velythra, observing quietly, could not contain her amazement. The children and a human janitor together, they saved a freighter. Her voice held awe and newfound respect for humility, collaboration, and unconventional approaches. Ethan's work with the twins continued, and over time, he became more than a janitor. He became a mentor, teacher, and friend. The children flourished, mastering skills previously thought impossible for their age. Palace staff began to adopt his methods, and the once rigid, perfection-focused court evolved into a more nurturing, flexible environment. Years later, Varrick and Liora walked confidently through the grand halls of Xythera Palace, engaging with dignitaries, learning governance, and exploring the wonders of their world. They were strong, capable, and independent, products not only of their royal lineage but of patience, encouragement, and guidance from a human who had chosen to see potential where others saw limitation. Ethan stood nearby, hands folded, watching the twins with quiet pride. "You've come a long way," he murmured almost to himself. Varrick looked up at him, eyes bright. "We did it, thanks to you," he signed, imitating Ethan's gestures. Liora added, laughing. "We walked when everyone said we couldn't." Queen Velythra approached, placing a hand on Ethan's shoulder. "You have changed more than the twins," she said softly. "You have changed this palace, our approach, and the way we see potential. The court will remember this for generations." Ethan shrugged modestly. "I just showed them how to trust themselves. They had the strength all along." The queen's eyes glimmered. Sometimes the greatest teachers are those who expect nothing in return and see what others cannot. You have done more than any tutor or machine could. In the years that followed, Ethan continued to mentor others, the twins' achievements becoming legendary. Palace staff and visiting dignitaries marveled at the human janitor who had taught royal heirs to walk and, in doing so, reshaped an entire court. And in the quiet moments when the palace corridors were empty and the moons cast silver light across Xythera, Ethan would watch Varrick and Liora running freely, exploring, laughing, and learning, and he would know that true impact is measured not by status, wealth, or power, but by patience, belief, and the courage to guide others to their own strength. The story of the human janitor and the queen's twins spread across the galaxy, a tale of humility, ingenuity, and the extraordinary results that can come when someone dares to see potential where others see limitation. For the twins, walking was just the beginning. For Ethan, seeing them walk and thrive was a testament to the quiet, transformative power of guidance, compassion, and unwavering belief in the capabilities of others. And in the palace of Xythera, beneath the watchful glow of 3 moons, the lesson was clear. Greatness is often found where it is least expected, and the smallest acts of patience and encouragement can shock a galaxy.